Hello! Today I've got two exciting little packages from RushFPV. But just before we get into them, a quick reminder to please like or dislike this video if you didn't like it. Comment down below, don't forget to subscribe, and if you can find it, click on the little bell icon, it'll tell you when I'm uploading new content. What have we got here? Well, you probably can't see anything because these bags are very reflective. But basically on this one we've got the Rush Tank Plus VTX, and on this one we've got the Rush VTX Mini. They are VTXs, obviously. They support smart audio. They do lots of power levels and stuff, but I thought rather than get them out here, they're all a bit small and come with little bits. Let's go to close up and I'll show you exactly what's in the bags, and we'll talk about them there. Okay, so let's get stuff out of the bag, and we're dealing first with the Rush Tank Plus, which is the full-size one, if you like. And it's quite interesting, the stuff that's in here, in terms of how it can be configured. So this is what you get. Some stickers, which don't really matter. You've got the little VTX itself. Now this is interesting in the fact it comes like this. You'll see, well you might not see actually because it's quite transparent. There's a plate here, so this is your normal 30.5mm mounting that will go on a quad, and obviously you could then mount that on there, just a bit of mounting tape or something like that, and go with your quad. But you can also mount it like this, another bit of tape somewhere, and it will just work like that. And I thought that's interesting because sometimes you don't want everything in a stack. You can go off on the side. If you're on like a wing or a plane or something, this is really nice and easy to embed. Just quite a different little idea there. As you can see, it's got a connector here, and you've got one that comes in the bag, and that's got your normal video, ground, 5V out, smart audio, ground and DC in, so power goes in. Get a 5V out at 1A, which should be able to drive just about any camera you have, and you've got input of 7 to 36 volts, all very good. Smart audio is absolutely licensed from TBS, so all good and official. You've got a few buttons here for power and frequency, and then you've got these little LEDs to basically show you your channel and band. I don't know if it shows the power as well, we'll have to check that. And now as an alternative to doing the connector, if you want to go slightly differently, you've also got solder pads down the back here which you can use, and you've got an MMCX connector here. This is what's supplied in the bag. Connect that on and you've got a little adapter for SMA. So that is the full size one, and interestingly the mini one is not all that different. You've got some interesting mounting hardware here, some real big screws for some reason. You've got a bunch of wires with no connectors on because this doesn't have a connector, and here is the board, and you will see from this point of view it's almost exactly the same. Again, the 5V out is at 1A, that's exactly the same. The input voltage is exactly the same, 736 volts. It's got little LEDs down the side again. It's got the two buttons, and both of these have the same power output, so they do PIT 25, 200, 500 and 800 milliwatts. With 48 channels. The only difference in this one is it comes with this little extra bit, so more armor plating. Again, you've got the 20mm holes for a mini stack. You could mount it differently, of course. And then you've got this little thing here, which is, if I get it the right way around, will just sort of snap on like that. And then it literally is like a tank. So the question now is, what can we put this or both on to test out? So obviously what we want to see is how clean the picture is and how well basically they all work. So yeah, let's find something to put them on. So in thinking about what to fit this on, and I'm going to start with the main one first off, and to do this I am going to mount it to its little mount there, and I've decided to go ahead and put it in this quad. This is the iFlight Nazgul 5, which I'm absolutely loving, but I've decided a weak point of it is that VTX running at 25 milliwatts. It really doesn't seem to get the picture we want. Now it could just be that it's being blocked by stuff, but I've had quads before and it seems okay, so I want to see if the Rush gives us a performance improvement over what's in there at the moment. So let's swap them out and we'll see what we've got. So here's the VTX that was in the Nazgul, and by luck more than judgment we just happened to fit in absolutely correctly. So we had the MMCX in the same place, we had the same
connector and pin layout as previously, and so we've got the Rush Ultimate Plus in there, and it took about 5 minutes start to finish. So I mounted the actual Rush VTX on that little mount thing using some of this Gorilla mounting tape. I just mentioned this because I was using sort of foam tape before, and that never goes on and off particularly well, but I thought I'd try this. So one of the reasons I've still got the top off, apart from to admire the nice engineering that iFlight did here, is to just look at these LEDs very quickly, and I'll show you what I mean by that if I plug this in the right way. You will see we have LEDs there, a flashing LED there. These are all about how it represents the band, the channel and the power. There are actual buttons here that can change the band and channel, and that one changes the power. It's all about holding them in, and I'm not about to sort of describe it there because there's a whole sort of sheet that explains what's happening. Previously this was using the Tramp way of changing VTX channel. This is now on Smart Audio, so we had to do a little change there. Okay, so let's try changing channel as something different to do. So let's go to channel 4, set that.
3 minutes.
Acknowledge that. Oh, okay, so we got another light has come on there. That's, at least something's happened slightly differently. There's supposed to be a separate LED just for power. Seems to be quite well hidden because I can't see it. Anyway, let's put the top on and let's see how this performs on 25 milliwatts and the other settings as well.
So we've got the new Rush VTX fitted in. Let's have a flight round those trees, up there, and let's go behind ourselves out of that distance and see what sort of breakup we got, because previously, certainly 25 milliwatts, it broke up quite quickly. Let's see how this does. Yep, so we record sound and it's the normal quite loud noise which has been turned down slightly, but you get something usable. So this is 25 milliwatts, and I just wanted to do a little course going around the tree there where we get a bit of static, and then what I'm doing, you can see me standing there, so I'm flying behind myself, I think about a few hundred meters, just to see if I can cause to stress this VTX out a bit more. So we're going down here, we do the turn and we turn back round, so then we're really out of line, and you can see we're just getting a little bit of noise when you look up at the sky there, but nothing too bad. Really quite a clean signal, quite pleased with that. All is good. And then what I'm going to do, as you can see, I've just gone past myself again, and aside from being unable to resist the tree gap, I'm now going to fly out in front of myself, going a little bit further, but not an awful long way. I'm sort of hemmed in by the woods here, so I can't go a huge amount of distance, but I think what we're looking at here is what you'd consider quite a usable distance if you're flying a regular quad. Anybody doing long range on quads probably isn't doing it on a 5-inch and has bigger batteries, bigger props, bigger everything. And once again, just as we do the turn there, you see there's a little bit more noise just in the sky, but there's certainly not what I would call static, just not as clean as it is. And that's at 25 milliwatts, so I am pretty pleased on this range. Now I'm going to compare this with the original one, and to do that I want to point out a few things. Here is me, and if you look at forwards, that's the way I'm facing. So what I'm going to do is, if we carry on now, this is behind myself, but if we just pause it here, this is where I was standing and this is the way I was facing on the original VTX. So comparing these, you've got to take into account that one is behind, one is straight in front. So in theory, the RushFPV VTX should have a much worse picture, but if you look at the original VTX, you'll see we're getting a lot more noise in there, even though we really are lined up at it. And whether this is like how bad the original VTX was versus how better the Rush VTX one is another question entirely. The fact is, it's just coming up an awful lot better. So yeah, we use Smart Audio there just to change to 200 milliwatts, do the same sort of test again. We're going round the tree and not much of a flicker there. So let's continue down past myself again and behind myself. into the field and to the end, basically where the trees are. I can't really go further than this because there is now a big fence here, because they're now building that part. So if I went down, I'd have trouble getting it again. So as you can see, this is cleaner here. There's not as much noise, if any, that you can see. And we get a pretty similar situation as we passed past myself through the trees again, of course, just, you know, kissing one of the leaves just for fun, and going further into the field. You will see there's another fence there, but I'm risking going over that one because there's a gate, so I think I can get into this field. I haven't tested it, so I'm still trying awfully hard not to crash anywhere. But again, we're up to the end of the field, and our signal as we turn around is looking pretty damn good, actually. It's better than 25. It's not completely noise free, but you really have to look hard to spot any problems at all in that one. So after doing this 200 milliwatt check, and pretty much 200 milliwatts all I would ever need to fly with, I did a quick check on 500. Once again, I won't share the whole flight because it's a bit boring. You get the idea by now, but just the quick edited highlights. We flew behind the tree. Behind the tree gets a little bit of breakup, but not much, as you might expect. We go down to the end of the field behind myself, and we do the turn. That looks very clean, and we're not really getting any problems at all. And finally we go up to the end of the other field in front of me, and as we do the turn, you will see that it's really quite clean. Nothing bad there at all. So the one I didn't do the test of is the 800 milliwatts, and mostly it was because I really couldn't get any issues or any differences whatsoever on 500, so I thought the doing it on 800 was a bit pointless. So yeah, really happy. That's worked really nicely as a replacement VTX for what I've got there, and obviously everything is coming in really clean and nice, so I'm liking this a lot. Well, changing that VTX out in this quad really did make a difference. It just goes to show what getting that nice clean power source through will do to a quad. So I was really happy to see how well 25 milliwatts worked, and quite how clean it was. I also matched this up with the RushFPV Cherry antenna, which I'd tried before to see if that fixed it. Really nice antennas too. I even found, I was just taking the quad apart, this is my original, this is like pre-smart audio. This was the original Rush VTX I had with the little side buttons and stuff. That gave a really nice clean image as well. So yeah, as a VTX, really recommend that one. I was a bit of a fan of them in the past. They've come back with these ones, and they're looking really very solid, really very clean in that power. Just getting rid of all that noise I had, which I really like. So heartily recommend them. And this one in here, which of course can't see anymore, is called the Rush Ultimate Plus, or the Rush Tank Ultimate Plus. And the one here is called the Rush Tank Mini. Now I haven't quite finished the video, but I haven't put this on yet. I will be. And just for fun, I'm not going to put this on a small quad, I'm going to put this on a much bigger quad because I like the fact you can put it on a different mounting surfaces. But anyway, that's review for today. I hope it's been helpful. Thanks very much for RushFPV for sending these out to review, and of course you'll find links down below for where you can find these. Until next time, hope that's been helpful, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now. Well, you've made it to the end of the video, so thanks once again for watching. If you like what you saw, then please consider subscribing, and if you really like what you saw, then be sure to check out the link to my blog for a variety of ways in which you can help support this channel.